Welcome to semester exam review day 2. This is going to be a tough one, but we have our formula chart that will hopefully be able to help us out. Number 1 says, which graph best represents the line passing through the point 0,4 and perpendicular to y equals negative 1/2 x? Well, first thing we want to do, just to eliminate some answer choices if possible, is to look for the point 0,4 and make sure it's on all 4 of these lines. Well, it is 1, 2, 3, 0,4, 0,4, 0,4, 0,4. Fine. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to figure out what a perpendicular line would be to negative 1/2 x. Now, this is where the formula chart comes in handy. So perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, which means that you flip whatever fraction there is and change the sign. So if this slope is negative 1/2, we would change that by flipping it over to make it positive 2/1, which is just a slope of 2. Now for our purposes, it's going to be 2/1, which means 2 up, 1 to the right. So what we want to do here is go through each of these graphs and see which one has a slope of up 2 and right 1. So pick 2 pretty points, up 2, right 1, A is our winner. If you go through the other ones, this is negative 1/2, that's down 1, right 2, this would be parallel. This is up 1 and right 2. This is just a positive slope of the same slope. And this is down 2 and right 1. This is just a negative 2 slope, which is not what we wanted. We wanted positive 2. Number 2 asks, which equation gives a line perpendicular to the graph shown? So, a lot of choices here, but what you need to look at is if you look at your answer choices, hopefully you'll notice that all of the slopes are different. One is 3/4, one is negative 3/4, one is 4/3, one is negative 4/3. So remember, perpendicular means we're looking for opposite reciprocal, but in order to do that, we need to find what the slope of this line is. So I'm going to go ahead and take a pretty point here and a pretty point here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4, over 3. So my slope here is 4/3. Now to get a perpendicular slope, I need the opposite reciprocal, which means my flat fraction flips. So 3 on top and 4 on the bottom. And the sign changes. This is a positive slope, perpendicular would be negative. I'm looking for negative 3/4. Positive 3/4, negative 3/4, there's a possibility. 4/3, negative 4/3. The only correct slope is letter B. On to page 2. Number 3 asks us to write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through 4, negative 2 and is parallel to x equals negative 2. This is a hard one, okay? There's no y in this equation, which means that this is a vertical line at negative 2. So here's negative 2. This vertical line that goes through that with an undefined slope is x equals negative 2. Now, it wants us to draw a line that passes through 4, negative 2. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 2. There's a point right there. Now, a parallel line to a vertical line would be another vertical line. And vertical lines always have the equation that takes on the x value of their point, the point that you're using. So this would be x equals 4. Kind of a tricky question. Not a lot of algebra to use, but you do need to recognize that if there's an x only and no y, it is going to be a vertical line. Okay. Number 4 says, write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through 1, 1 and is perpendicular to the line graphed below. Well, again, we are going to need to use the perpendicular formula, but we're also going to need to use point-slope form, and we'll show you why in just a second. So first thing we need to do is figure out what the slope of this line is before we can figure out what a parallel or a perpendicular slope is. So I'm going to find 2 pretty points. Here I go down 2, I go right 4. So my slope is negative 2/4. Same thing as negative 1/2. Now a perpendicular slope would be to flip that fraction over, 2/1, change the sign from negative to positive. I can reduce that to 2. So my slope is positive 2. That's the first part. The second part is using point-slope form, because we now have a point, 1, 1, and we have a slope, which is 2. That formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm going to put that formula up here. So we have m. I'm going to go ahead and label these two things, x1 and y1, so we know where to plug things in. So y minus something equals something times x minus x1. And then we're going to fill in the gaps. y1 is 1, m is 2, and x1 is also 1. Now this is going to be a fairly simple equation as long as you follow the steps that we talked about. The first step being to get rid of extra parentheses. So this is extra and this is extra. So we're going to go simplify this first to y minus 1 equals 2 times x minus 1. Now we don't have to worry about extra distribution or anything. But we do need to distribute here. Okay, the left side is going to stay the same for now. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Then we are going to go ahead and solve by adding 1 to both sides to get y by itself, which gives me y equals 2x, negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, 2x minus 1. Now, it's kind of difficult to check this in the calculator, but what you can do is you can go ahead and plug in each of your equations. I'm going to first go here and change my zoom to square so it looks like it'll be perpendicular. If you don't do that, then it's not 100%. But I'm going to go ahead and put 2x minus 1 in here. I'm going to look at that line. If I look at that line compared to this one, they look like they could be perpendicular, but what you can really do is check to make sure that this point is on this line by going to second graph. We're going to go to when x equals 1, y should also equal 1. And there we go, 1, 1 is on that line. So that's one way of getting close to checking your answer. Number 5 is writing and solving systems of two linear equations. Number 5 says, Michael Jordan once scored 3,005 points in one season. He shot baskets worth 2 points and baskets worth 1 point and made a total of 1,919 baskets. Which equation can be used to find the number of each type of basket Jordan made? So this one's kind of tricky because it gives you some random equations or random looking equations, but what you need to figure out is what represents what. So let's say that the 2 pointers are worth 2 points, that's x, and the 1 point free throws are y's. Okay, he took a total, made a total of 1,919 baskets. That means that all of the x's and y's he shot. So that should be x plus y equals 1,919. Okay, the points though, the x's were worth 2, so that'd be a 2x. The y's are worth 1, so that'd be plus y, and those were worth 3,005. So we want to find these two equations. X plus y equals 1919. Good. That's x minus y, so that's out. X plus y is 1919. Good. X plus y is 1919. Also good. So then 2x plus y equals 3,005. Well, there we go. A is the correct answer again. This has just x plus y. That doesn't account for 2 pointers. This has 2x minus y. Shouldn't be a minus there. All right. Number 6 asks us, what is the solution to the following system of equations? There are so many ways you could do this problem, but because this is set up as two standard equations, or standard form equations, which would be ax plus by equals c, probably the best one is elimination, but in order to use elimination, you need to have something that's going to cancel out. So if I have 4x minus 5y equals 20, I need one of these things to cancel out. So I'm going to start here because 4 is smaller. The way to get 4x to cancel is to have a negative 4x. So I'm going to multiply this whole second line times negative 4, because that will create a negative 4x. So I'm going to distribute negative 4 times x, negative 4x, negative 4 times negative y, plus 4y, and negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Now once I've done that, I can cross out this middle one so I don't get confused, and I'm going to combine these two equations. 4x minus 4x, those cancel. Negative 5y plus 4y is negative y, and 20 minus 12 is 8. Now I'm never looking for negative y And that negative y means it's a negative 1, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. And I get y equals negative 8. That is not the solution. That is half of it, because we also need the x value. In order to find the x value, we're going to take one of these equations and plug in negative 8 for y. So I'm going to take this 4x minus 5 times negative 8 equals 20. Now I need to distribute here. So 4x negative 5 times negative 8 is positive 40 equals 20. Now I need to subtract 40 from both sides. Gives me 4x equals negative 20. Then I will divide both sides by 4x, or just by 4, which gives me x equals negative 5. My solution is negative 5, negative 8. Now, one way that you can check this answer is by plugging these numbers back into the original equations to make sure that they both are true. I'm not going to do that step, but you can do that to find your answers. We'll take a break and go on to page 2, or page 3.